Welcome to the Dragon's Tome. This is episode 65, issue 65 of Dragon Magazine. We're going going through every single episode or issue episodically, chronologically. I don't know. I've lost my mind.
How many other words can we use? Periodically.
It is a periodical.
Periodicals.
It is. Isn't it right? Never mind. Yes. My name's Rob.
I'm Jack.
Chopper.
They didn't want to talk. They talk over each other all the time. Welcome to all our new viewers. I hope you're enjoying the better quality. We've improved our system, and now we won't look like stop motion.
It's true.
I think our sound was always all right. It was always the video that was a little off. But as long as you could see the magazine, that's all that matters. Who cares what we look like?
Exactly.
It's best if you don't look at all, actually.
Keep your eyes closed. So this is September 1982. And the cover is by Clyde Caldwell, famously.
Which is probably, I think, the most recognizable Dragon Magazine cover.
You think this one?
I do. I think it's one of the top five.
For sure. It's top there.
It's top five because when you see Dragon magazines, this is one of the covers you see when they talk about it in passing or someone shows a picture of Dragon magazine.
It's one of them for sure. One of the anniversaries has a big red dragon on it. I think that's one of the most famous ones. But yeah, this is a green dragon about to eat a fighter, bite off his horn.
Because
I like the dwarf's
because
look behind.
He's the guy who goes, yeah, because he comes in the room. Let's look left, and the dwarf's like, no.
And the wizard's smart enough to stay outside, or cleric, whatever she is.
Exactly. I'm gonna cast from the outside.
And it's classic Caldwell classic dragon. That cover right there is we're talking prime time for Dragon magazine right now.
Yep. And there's his little symbol in the stairs that you see and the paperbacks and everything.
Yeah, I think he even did some of the actual TSR supplements covers. I'm pretty sure. Was he the one who did? He might have done second edition, not third edition. He might have done the cover.
No,
I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there eventually. I
don't have any third edition books actually.
I do. That was when we stopped, pretty much third edition.
Yeah, we stopped at third edition, but I never bought any third edition. So I have a big gap.
The DMG and the players, I think, from third.
Yeah, I have a big gap in my collection between second and fourth.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is the cover. We shall go down to Dragon Rumbles, and you're like, wait a second, that's not Dragon Rumbles. You gotta keep scrolling. You have to scroll all the way to page 6 of the PDF because it's a guest editorial by E. Gary Gygax. It's a long one, boys. It's a long one.
Oh, that's one of the ones. I didn't think that was the Dragon Rumbles.
It is a Dragon Rumbles.
I actually did one of my things on this. All right, that's a good thing.
Well, you can jump in. It's a special Gygax edition.
There's a lot to discuss, so this might be. This magazine was chock-a-block full.
I think they had a lot of stuff. Yeah,
it's got a lot of content. So
Gygax, he starts off with a Gen Con history and how it started out independently and eventually taken over by TSR. I didn't know that Gygax ran Gen Con before TSR. Like he was involved with like Gen Con from the very beginning. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, I mean, TSR came about after D&D started getting popular, and in that whole time when he was still writing Chainmail and all those other things with Dave Arneson, they were running Gen Con games for the strategic warfare. What is the name? Or International Federation of Wargamers.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought he was just went. I didn't know he was actually running it.
No, yeah, him and he. I mean, from when you talk to like Ernie or any of those, if you ever get a chance to meet them, they'll say that whole Federation of Wargaming that was very huge. They would go to Minnesota. The Minnesota guys would come down to here and to Lake Geneva, and they would play. They would hold these little conventions, and they wanted to do one in Lake Geneva, and so then he said, "All right, I'll do it. We'll hold a horticulture hall."
And that's what Gen Con
right down the street. Yeah.
So then after Gen Con 8 came Origins, run by Avalon Hill. And because pretty much Gygax implies that they saw the success of Gen Con or trying to steal the success. And he says right from the get-go, Origins went after Gen Con, saying that Gen Con was just a regional tournament where Origins was the national one and all this stuff.
Was he? See, the thing is, I'm trying to remember how far back. This is when Avalon Hill was. Avalon Hill posting that, or is that just his?
Well, that's what he says. That Avalon Hill,
Yeah,
when they advertised the original Gen
I don't know
Origins,
if I remember that.
when they advertised the original Origins, they said it was more national and professional, not just some rinky-dink operation. And he said that every year Origins kept copying what Gen Con did and passed it off as new and inventive, which I thought was funny. Gygax, you never you always get what you get with Gygax. He's never going to his truth might be a little let's say rose-colored.
Little, yeah, exactly.
But he's the big fish. He can swing his Big Johnson around at this point in the industry. So
I kind of agree with that. But I also do, talking to some of the older guys when I go up to Lake Geneva, it is like you said, truth, but a little rose-colored.
Yeah.
For his tastes.
Yeah, we'll see later as he goes through more of the history here. But he says they lose money every year doing Gen Con, but it's to keep in touch with the players and it thanks the gamers. And that's probably true, especially back when TSR actually owns it. I'm sure they lost tons of money.
Don't run a convention if you think you're going to live off profits, because that'll never happen.
Yeah. Like nowadays, Gen Con's
never
huge.
Happen.
They probably still barely make money. Yeah.
Or if anything, you just with any convention, you're hoping to
pay your people and
pay to just recoup.
Yeah. He says they invited Avalon Hill and SPI to work with TSR for the betterment of the hobby, but they refused. And now
SPI is the one they bought, right?
Yeah, that gets to that. But TSR dwarfs Avalon Hill now, and SPI is out of business. So he's pretty much gloating. And they another thing, Origins used to say Origins or Gen Con was a miniatures convention only, like a wargamers convention. Mm-hmm. That was like a knock against Gen Con, but he says primarily at this point it's all RPGs. Like RPGs are huge. Which
I mean when it becomes Gen Con, it becomes more RPGs because then D&D is huge. Then maybe before TSR, you could call Gen Con.
Well, it was war games originally.
War games,
Was it that they always did like huge mass battle games and stuff, but chit games. It's not like we think of mass battle games. They were chit games back then. He touts all the other cons TSR runs all over the country, but now he starts into Origins. He says Origins is run by Gamma, which Avalon Hill is a member, but TSR is not. He does bash Gamma a lot in this. He sees that as just a way to sponsor Origins over Gen Con. He says it's pretty much this group is only for that. There's no other reason to have it.
Well, this part I don't disagree with because I think it's the same group I'm thinking of. It's the guys who tanked Origins and Gamma back in the 80s and early 90s, and before this new group got a hold of Origins Gamma and turned it around.
Yeah.
I mean, Origins is still too expensive to go to, in my opinion,
but Avalon Hill doesn't have anything to do with that. I think the real thing is he's really against Avalon Hill. That's who this is.
Well, I think he's saying Avalon Hill had nothing to do with the people who took over Gamma and Origins.
No, he's saying Avalon Hill at this point runs Gamma and runs Origins, so it's.
So then this must be before that then.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's the group after Avalon Hill
that
destroys Gamma and Origins.
He says Gamma is actively working against supporting Gen Con, and these companies used to make fun of TSR for being just a little thing, and now they're trying to cash in their success, which I thought was funny too, because it's true. Like early on, you'd always hear like he'd always be defending against other magazines, saying TSR is nothing and all this stuff. But now who's laughing? Where are we? Yeah, he says Gen Con is for gamers, where Origins is just trying to make money off them, which I thought was funny. He says also Gamma actively suppresses all other small cons, where TSR supports them. And at the very end of this, the whole point of all this was that TSR no longer attend or have any other games at Origins, nor SPI since they absorbed them, and asks the fans not to support Origins, and TSR will still advertise and support all other cons, and pretty much it's TSR versus everybody else at this point. At least anybody else who is part of Gamma, which is mostly board game companies. When you look at the actual list, it's not like, all these other like Chaosium, all these other small companies, GDW, all these companies aren't part of that. It's board game companies like Avalon Hill and like but he always jokes. I think it comes up later that like the big companies like Hasbro and stuff or Parker Brothers, they're not part of this stuff. This is all like low level
All these,
infighting
well,
amongst these.
all these companies that are out of business now, like Parker Brothers,
Oh yeah.
Milton Bradley. Is Mattel out? I think Mattel is close,
Uh,
or got bought by
yeah, I think
Hasbro.
Hasbro owns all those now. Yeah, Hasbro probably owns. I think they do own Avalon Hill now. I think about it.
They
Hasbro
do.
bought everything, so
Yeah.
Hasbro is the current TSR.
Was there's the irony in there, isn't it?
uh, yeah. So he pretty much says if you're not working with us, you're working against us. That's his whole article.
I think what's funny about this whole attack on Gamma is now Gamma in its new iteration is just really a trade show
Yeah,
for distributors.
yeah. It's almost like that other one he talked about before, that hobby market show. That's almost what Gamma is now. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Gamma's not for people. That's an actual show. But Origins is still. I bet Origins probably is second largest in North America.
I would too. I won't. I'm not going to bash Origins and their tenants. I'm just going to bash their pricing.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, this will go back to a Gen Con versus Origin feel of this article is that and you've heard me gripe about it before as a vendor, that they want Gen Con fees for a show that does not bring in the same amount of people as Gen Con.
Yeah. I once again I feel Origins is much more of a board game con, where Gen Con's much more of an RPG and board game. Obviously, there's tons of stuff, but
Yeah.
when you look at like the who goes to what, Origins is always more board game kind of people, I find. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anybody, Jack, you have anything to say about this Dragon Rumbles? Do you have anything to say about Gygax?
No, just that we all know that this rant, this little screed of his will blow up in his face eventually.
Not that
but
long
for
from
now,
now either. A couple years.
no, it doesn't take that long. But yeah, this is classic. This is classic Gygax.
Well, this is just it not only blows up in his face, but it also blows up in the face of Gamma and Origins too, because these are two guys who weren't playing well together, and they pretty much mutually destroyed each other.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Gen Con just like silently slipped away from both of them and like, we got nothing to do with those guys. We're over here now.
Which is we're not part of this fight.
Yeah, that's right. We'll go to Jack. What is your first one then?
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Get up my book.
Get out your novelette.
Yes, if we would be so kind as to follow me along to page 33 in the PDF.
33.
33.
33. When I get my keyboard working, 33 it will be. 33, there we go. Damn talisman screwing up my keyboard.
My mistake, 11.
Okay.
Do your threes look like ones?
They kind of do. They kind of do. Again, there's a bonus to going archaic like this, to being old school, but also with the lighting and stuff like that, it's a little hard on the old. You got to write bigger.
This is one of my articles also. So.
Okay, character classes to consider. It is basically a toe dipped into what would now, by today's standards, be a subclass or a background or something like that. It is kind of it's diversifying what the basic classes are and giving you ideas. Oh, you don't have to be a cut purse if you're a thief.
Well, a lot of these are added in eventually Unearthed Arcana, but I think he calls it the AD&D expansion at this point. But it's much later. We get like we talked about before on Unearthed Arcana. But
for those not can see, this is an article written by Gary Gygax.
Yes, we didn't.
Yes.
Yeah, things like Cavalier, I know for sure show up in.
Well, Cavalier becomes a class in itself, and I do think I want to see Acrobat comes into the Thief.
I know definitely there is other ones later, especially in the Thieves book, but yeah, like Jack says, it's like subclasses almost, these ones.
Yeah.
But the idea is a little percolating.
It's the little seedling. but mostly I would like to say yes, that is a window into the future. But the article takes a turn near the bottom, where again, Gary Gygax says, "I've written this, so this is official," and then ends with, "Do not be fooled by cheap imitations. Other
Yeah.
people will try and write you things that look nice, but it's just all that glitters is not gold, and you will be lured away like a succubus will take you into its chambers and feast on your heart and soul." So while you're looking at the Cavalier, thinking, "That's nice. Yeah, maybe I can expand. Don't expand too much. Expand."
Only what he says is law. Although he does say he is allowing new people to come in, which that the late news part is Frank Metzer will be trained to work with him, and Metzer
He volunteered in quotes.
I voluntold, but I looked it up. I looked up Metzer because I was like, oh, I wonder what this guy does. He works with Gygax until he's ousted by TSR, and he even joins him in another failed venture after TSR. So he must be a good friend.
Is he part of the dangerous?
Yeah.
It was dangerous something. Dangerous Descents,
yeah,
and they made him change it because it was too close to D&D.
Yeah, and then it was like
to Dangerous something else.
Yeah, Dangerous Denzians or something like that.
No, it wasn't even D&D. I think I want to say Dangerous Encounters or.
And then this Metzer left the gaming industry back in 2010 to join, but then he came back in 2010, I should say, to join Tim Kask and Jim Ward to make Eldritch Enterprises, but nothing came of that.
Ooh.
We talked about that before when we talked about Tim Kask, but so he's one of the three that joins for that failed venture also.
Yeah, well, that's too bad. Jim Ward was the Gamma World guy.
Yeah, and Kask was the original editor of Dragon.
Yeah.
And then the other guy they mentioned is a French designer named Francois Marcel Freudeval. He's also joined the team.
Freudeval.
Mostly to do a lot of French translation, but also to be up there. And I guess he stays for a few years, but then goes off to write French comics, which is interesting. So he gets out of gaming and goes for comics. Did you read any of the other parts, Jack? Like the druid, he tries to have a high level druid for some reason.
Yeah.
Like the Pope of druidness.
Yeah.
They are good ideas, and if it were someone else saying, "Hey, this is," because it's forward thinking for the time, this part, which is why I brought it up that at the end, because it is kind of like the duality of Gary Gygax. He's very clever. He's got ideas, and he's
idea guy,
but he's also very stuck in his way. So one foot in the future, one in the past. And some of these are great, and others I'm like, hey, as a prototype, just thinking thoughts, not bad, but nothing will ever come of that.
These other sections, there's also a personalizing characters section where he talks about how you should be. If you're not personalizing your character, you aren't role playing. And he talks about complexion. Everybody wants to paint Gygax as a racist and all this, but he doesn't imply anything about certain races. He's just like, here's, you could be copper, red, brown, olive, ruddy, pink, fair. Like, he doesn't say they have different, intelligence or anything. Like a lot of people try to say he did, but so obviously that's a lot of looking back and trying to paint a picture about Gygax that isn't true. Maybe other people in his family might be true about, but it's not true about Gary Gygax. So.
That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, when people try to accuse someone who's not around anymore,
yeah,
you get to paint the picture the way you want to.
But
yes, it's very hard for us to rebut when you're long dead.
But I do like he also adds things like skin texture, and I was like, that's going a little bit too far to care about your skin texture.
Well, pocked and leathery.
Yeah. It's like.
And those are my three right now: pocked, leathery, and seamed.
What about your character?
That's my skin texture.
And he also talks about the barbarians again, because I guess a lot of people attacked him about these barbarians.
But then the barbarian character turns out to be so crazy powerful.
Well, later on we'll talk about that. But he says they can't be harmed by magic items since they can't use them. They can't be harmed by them either. But later in a different issue, he talks more about barbarians, so it's kind of funny. So that's that one. Pat, what's your first article?
All right, my first article will be to go to page 29.
Not 33?
Ooh, not 27?
This is my other one, too.
If you look at 33, there isn't really no 33. It skips from 30 to 37.
There is a 33. It's in the PDF. It's It's an ad for
Yeah.
RPG A. Anyways, the
We
missing
know that
dragons.
because I led you down the garden
Yeah,
path
we've already seen that.
to
No, but if you look at the page number, it's
No,
37.
he always says PDF numbers.
Uh,
Missing dragons, Pat. Talk about
Missing
dragons.
dragons. So we're
I
talking
like
about
this one
the
too.
3 new dragons, the other colored dragons. The thing I found funny about this, he uses the color wheel
Yeah.
to fill this, but then in using the color wheel, we have to invent a new dragon,
Well, they're all
which
new
is
dragons.
the yellow dragon, though, because it's the 3 colors. We have a red and blue, and
Oh yeah,
then
you have to have
then we have
a
then
top.
we have a green dragon,
top
and
one,
we have
yeah.
a black dragon, which is not even in the color wheel at this point.
No, black
no,
and white
no.
and all the colors.
So this
Yeah.
color wheel is very, very throwing off.
Well,
and
he has
shouldn't
to
probably
invent
be
the yellow
used.
dragon to be one of the granddaddies of the other dragons.
Well, yeah, you have to have the yellow dragon because it's a primary
That's how you
color
make
to
the
have
other
any
ones,
of the
yeah.
other colors.
But I like how he uses like the color to determine. So yellow makes a red and a green. So
Yes.
yes, it must be related to the red and the green some way. And
Well, yellow and orange, yellow and red make orange.
yeah. So yeah, so that's what I mean. Orange and green. They make it so that they have to have. So orange dragons have to be part yellow and part red. So he has like things
Yes.
from each. And yeah, I think that was neat.
And the
That's how they
purple
did it.
dragon is red and blue, I think.
But I guarantee the green dragon isn't part. Well, he kind of does it because he takes the yellow dragon and he kind of retroactively says, okay, what's the difference between a
Yeah.
blue and a green dragon? Let's make that the yellow dragon. Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting idea to use color theory to make dragons.
So the one thing I found very weird about this, as opposed to the other dragons, is in the monster manual when you read the breath weapon, it's blah 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 cone of sodium, a cone of whatever. The yellow and orange both are salt, sodium, just straight up sodium. But what happens here is that now not only you have to make a saving throw of dragon breath, you have to make a saving throw again to see that you had turned and your face isn't getting burned off.
It's like, isn't that the same thing? Isn't that what the saving throws for?
Yeah, but
Yeah, they're a little OP, but he also says that they're so rare to see these dragons that it's almost impossible anyways. So it's kind of like, if you really want to use them. I do like the art. Very nice pictures by.
oh yeah, there's some good looking dragons on this
One's
one.
by Elmore and
Yeah.
2 are by Elmore, and the
Oh.
other one's by I think
Easily.
Easily, yeah. That Easily
This
dragon.
purple dragon
definitely-
is nice though, but it's got a crazy lightning breath weapon.
Yeah, they're anytime people build dragons, I always find they always make them way more powerful than the existing dragons. It's like it's kind of you gotta even it out, guys.
Yeah. I suppose like when you made the yellow dragon one of the 3 first dragons, you have to make that kind of.
I don't mind him being super powerful. That makes sense. Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
I mean because if we're working just on color wheels, we're just missing the white and black, and
For the evil ones, yeah. But
yeah,
is the green dragon? Do you think less powerful than the red and the blue? I don't think so. I think blue is.
I don't think so either. I just think that I think green's actually a really powerful dragon
Yeah.
because it's got the
acid.
it's got the gas, the
It's
chlorine
gas.
gas.
That's right. Black's acid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So
No, I
I
think
just
green's one of
think,
the most powerful dragons. So his whole
I think
theory
it's
is
just-
not working great, but it's interesting.
yeah, I mean, you can't use the color wheel to rank these things. You just have to use the color wheel to.
Yeah, again, I think this guy's theory here was hey a mind exercise
Yeah.
of hey imagine if
Yeah, or like, how do we have a green dragon with no yellow dragon?
Yeah.
and then
but who
he
says
went on
that-
from there.
But who says that Richard Lloyd must be an artist at some point, I guess,
Yeah.
because his thinking is totally color wheel.
Yeah, well, that's what his basis of this mind exercise, as Jack said. For my article, we're going to 36, I think. No, we're going to 37. Monsters
Oh.
of the Midway.
It's
You
the
can talk
last
about
of my
this most
articles.
because mostly I just wanted to say Blood Bowl. Anyone?
This is what I said, and then we talked about this many issues ago when they started when we talked about snits.
Mhm.
because my first game that we played that was an edition was the boxing game, and then me and my friends we played the shit out of this game prior to Blood Bowl.
Well, I looked it up. Blood Bowl comes quite a few 4 years later, and
Yeah, but this is almost
yeah.
verbatim.
Well, the creator
Blood Bowl.
of Blood Bowl says he never saw this game, and it has nothing to do with this game. I think that's
if he
BS.
says that, I think that's 100% a lie, especially since GW published this magazine.
Yeah. Well,
for
at
the
least
UK.
distributed it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I find that to be a lie, especially when you have a blocking and a tackle table.
Yeah, it's
which is almost if you were assigned dice, this would be it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's obviously Blood Bowl before Blood Bowl, and the creator of Blood Bowl just went, "Hey, let's just modify this."
And let me point out, it's even this version of Monsters of the Way has the one mechanic in Blood Bowl that I hate the most.
What's that?
When the blocker gets injured.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, but it's it's a good game. You played it a lot, Pat?
Monsters of Midway?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it was one of our first fantasy football games we could play.
You're all football guys.
That wasn't. You turned on the little.
The Tecmo, yeah.
You know, and the Atari football game was horrible. The Intellivision football game not so bad, but not everyone had Intellivision at the time.
I had Intellivision. I had Pong.
And then, but this was a nice little chit game, and I might actually print this up. Sarah's got some card stock that I can print these chits on and cut them
probably
out.
Just 3D print some miniatures.
No,
don't bother.
We're going back to 1982, baby. If I'm gonna print this up, this is 1982. It's coming out on paper and cardboard.
I wonder if there aren't already like some sort of STLs made for.
Well, there are definitely STLs for Blood Bowl. I can tell you that right now.
Oh yeah.
But and this is pretty much the same characters. So
I like the fact that one of the things we loved about this game is that you had to draft a team before you played. You just couldn't, you didn't have a box team. You just said, "All right, I get so many points, so I'm gonna pick this guy, pick this guy, pick this guy."
It doesn't get into the game quick, but it makes it fun, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, then you're playing a different team every time you play.
Yeah, because somebody will that guy beat me up last time. I'm going to steal him from you.
Yeah.
And at the end, you're like, I'm stuck with a halfling. Oh, I'll make the points, I guess so.
Jack, what's your next article?
My next article, if we could be so kind as to follow me to page 27 of the PDF.
Not 33?
33 and a half.
No, I'm not going to live that down, am I?
Featured creatures. Once again,
these are
Gygax official.
Yes, and these
and copyrighted.
Yeah.
These do the Baku I've seen that picture before 100%. That's a phoenix.
Obviously. Surprising
that it's not in the game before this, but yes, that's the picture I recognize for it. And I bring it up because these are this creature, the features seems to be.
What was the Baku in? Where did that come out of?
Probably
I don't
in one
know.
of the monster manual. When they added all those sheets to the monster manual, where they were separate. I'm sure they were in there.
The Monstrous Compendium.
Yeah, the compendium.
No, I don't think the compendium's out yet because that's second edition.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no,
I'm just
no.
saying this is where it is, Pat. This is it. This is the first appearance of it.
But there is a monster manual too.
I don't think it's out yet at this point either.
No, but I think that's where
maybe this stuff showed up. Yeah.
I don't. It probably is in the Monsters Compendium eventually, but I think these will make the appearance in MM2.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder when that. Well, we'll find out because we'll see the ads. I'm sure.
we don't want to look ahead.
No, we try not to. I do like looking up people's histories, but that's about it.
You've been very astute. You've taken it upon yourself to.
Yeah, I think I should be a little bit more knowledgeable instead of going, I don't know what this guy. He's probably dead. That used to be our old thing.
Yes, and then it became all too real.
Yeah, that's right. And then it was true.
Oh, I know where I saw the picture now.
Where?
It was in the Psionicist handbook.
Abaku? Did they have
Yeah.
psionic powers?
Yes.
Ah, makes sense.
Hmm.
So, Jack, you have anything else to say about these featured creatures?
No. The point's been made. They are official. Gary Gygax said so. I recognize them, but I don't know. I don't know now that it's been brought up where they appeared that I recognize them from.
You probably
but,
recognize it from the Monster Manual too, because that's prior to. I recognize it from the Psionicist handbook, but prior
later,
to Psionicist handbook, it was in the Monster Manual too.
Okay, that was my.
Which comes out next year in '83.
Ah, there you go.
Okay.
Pat, what's your next article?
I'm done.
You're done, so I'm going
to. Every one of my articles was every one of your guys' articles.
Me too.
This one's got so much in it too, though. I tried to. Well,
you're going to be talking for a while because this is my last one, I think. Time Lords, and I was like, Time Lords.
What number? Yeah.
Oh, sorry, page 35.
See, like I didn't do Time Lords on purpose because I knew someone when you guys.
So I was like, oh my god, it's Time Lords, but it has nothing to do with Doctor Who. So there you go. Throw that out the window. But it's just pretty much wizards who can manipulate time. They're kind of like time mages, but they it's a natural ability.
It's our friend Lewis Pulsifer.
Yep, Pulsifer himself, and it's an NPC class, but it's still got all the hallmarks of a character class because it's got.
How about if we start saying it like this? It's an NPC class.
Yeah, that's what this is. So it's pretty much a bunch of time spells that you end up just being able to use as natural abilities. So you don't. It's pretty short, which is amazing, but it's pretty simple. That's why, because he pretty much just went through every different character class who can cast spells and took all the time spells and made it into this NPC. So there you
Except for Age Humanoid.
Age Humanoid. Wow, I'm sure.
The 7th level spell.
Yeah, yeah, it's new stuff too. But yeah.
But long and short of it, I think it'd be fun. When I looked at it, I was like, I can see how having this specialized mage type, this mystic type, would be fun to play.
I'm pretty sure maybe it's Pathfinder, but one of these systems already has time mages. Similar, very similar idea. So it becomes official in some way in some system, and obviously in Final Fantasy because they're fun to use. You can stop people, haste, fun, make your little character's legs move. Jack. Okay, since Pat's tapped out, what's your next one?
I'm tapped out.
I thought you said tons to talk about.
There is, but
ads. There's lots of ads. I think I got 3 ads.
Okay, well then you should head to the ads then.
Sure. Jack, what's your first ad?
If we go down to page 39.
39.
No, 41 of the PDF.
Oh, you're trying to trick me again.
No.
Yeah, this is one of mine too because I was like, oh. I guess they don't hate them that much not to take their money.
Okay, well, you just got to the crux of my why I would bring this up. It starts with, this advertisement has no headline. Words do not convey the excitement of GI Anvil of Victory. So, I don't know. I never heard of the game. I don't know. Clearly, it's a World War II.
It's a squad leader add-on.
Yeah.
We've got an Abrams tank up there, or
it's an Abrams. What's 1990 already?
Yeah. So that's would be
Sherman.
Sherman, and we've got the GIs with his, obviously giving instructions.
It's the army man who's got the phone in his hand and is going, "Come on, let's go." The guy, the army man that no one ever wanted.
But the crux of it is, if we take a look at the logo there, that AH, is that not Avalon Hill?
It is indeed.
It's Antiquated Homes.
Avalon Hill, but this is Hobby Games Distributors Incorporated, technically is ad, but it's an Avalon Hill which they're trying to sell. Yep. And I was like, we'll see if there's any. We'll have to do an Avalon Hill watch to see if there's any more Avalon Hill games after this. This might be like
we'll have to watch, but I seem to think that Gary said there's a line been drawn, but we don't play that line. I
He
think
said
they'll still take
don't support Origins, don't support Avalon Hill in his little screed there. So
Yeah.
yeah. So Pat, do you have any ads?
I don't actually.
Okay, then I'm going to let's go to page 25. It's Judges Guild. But what I want to say is Imperial Infantry Squad. Did GW just go through this magazine for ideas or what? Even the font looks like 40K.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second, and I was like, maybe it's, but then like 40K is a lot, like 10 years after this, like it's a lot later. So I was just
Well,
like,
the guys maybe like I said,
I think someone's reading
re-
this magazine.
I refuse to believe that Monsters of the Way did not influence whoever created Blood Bowl in any way, because that is ridiculously.
Yeah, this is so Imperial Infantry Squad from Judges Guild is pretty much powered armor rules for D&D. I think that's how it comes down to. So, and yeah, it's Judges Guild is semi-official, like I guess it's kind of like a fan, what do they call it, a fan club, sort of D&D fan club. So they got a lot of little supplements that the kind of stuff that Gygax Jack was talking about, how he said don't to go with these imitators. This is the kind of stuff they put out. It's exactly the stuff Gygax was railing against.
Well, this looks like a counter game, because it does say it comes with 480 die cut counters.
Ooh, that's a lot of little chits, dice. Yeah,
so maybe they're actually making actual games now, not just doing D&D supplements. But
yeah,
Judges Guild. Jack, do you have any more ads?
No.
I got one more, page 71, because it is well, it's, if you can read it, it's got like 4 heads. It's got like a knight, I think, and a space guy, and a GI, and maybe a legionnaire.
It looks like a legionnaire.
And I said,
looks like a gladiator.
I don't know.
World War II guy. The top guy's a gladiator or a knight.
Knight.
Can you tell me anything that this ad says? That's the question.
This is a miniature game or miniature ad.
It is the pictures are so dark that the text is ineligible. Jack, as a former person who was in publishing, does this annoy the hell out of you or what?
Yes, this is an egregious example of either the scan.
I don't know. Nothing else looks this bad.
but I have a hard time figuring out why that would be. Was that through context clues you can tell what it is and what the title of the Fantastic Escape.
Yeah, that's at the bottom there. That's the only reason I know what it's called.
Yeah,
and then you look
at the top.
Store. But if you were to have paid for this ad and that's how it came out in the magazine,
that's right. Someone paid for this ad. Yeah.
Yes, you would be getting a couple free months coming on after that.
Yeah, we'll have to we'll have to see if they come up again and if it's much more legible. So that was my final ad. Does anybody else have anything else in the magazine they'd like to speak of?
No. I mean, just a lot of it was taken up by that editorial for me.
Yeah.
And Monster Midway, because, God bless it, we played the shit out of that game.
It's right on the cover. Fantasy football, New Dragons. We never talk about Celtic mythos. Usually, Pat, you pick up on the mythoses. You decide you don't like Celts?
It's not that I didn't like Celts. It was
I'm amazed they weren't actually in the teasing because they were so famous.
Well, if you read, I read the article because I thought about it, because I do like the, like you said, I do like the mythos, but it was really just kind of a revamp of the stuff that was in D&D's Demigods already.
Just expanded.
Yeah, so I'm like, you have D&D's Demigods, why would you need this, I guess?
Yeah. Well, that wraps up 65. Thank you for joining us. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your mother.
Tell your mom.
Tell your mama.
But tell her in a respectful way.
And yeah, please come back next week. It's a weekly show, guys. Next week for another Dragon magazine. Eventually, we'll get through them all, theoretically.
We will, and that will be a sad day.
I think a sense of accomplishment would be felt.
Well, no,
Yes.
for us it'll be a sense of accomplishment. For the listeners, it'll be a sad day. They'll be like, "What are we gonna do next week?"
Well, that's gonna be like in 10 years, and by then we'll be like
Old. There might be in memory
crotchety.
of. There might be an in memory a slideshow at the end for one of us.
There's no
It'll
for all
just
of us.
be-
It'll just be a totally different people. As we go off, people will replace us.
I'll just ask that if I do die, that you just place my urn here and then just go on about the
It's just sitting in there
game
the
as
whole
well.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, as
And we even throw it to you and then wait.
I
No,
want to.
let's not make it a cartoon, people.
I wanna- I
Disrespectfully.
wanna-
Oh, I was thought we were. Just
I want a
communing with
slideshow
the
with a
dead.
Sarah McLachlan song going.
That there'll be a very special episode, but then also just have my urn sitting here and just go about like as if
A very special episode where we show where Pat touched the doll. Is that what's happening?
oh
That's
we
Or
better
where the
end
doll
this
touched
one.
Pat.
that's a different. Ooh, that's a different podcast.
Anyways,
That's
enough of this drivel. Yeah, Pat or Jack, you never did a podcast at the beginning. Oh, it wasn't you. You're not the host. I forgot.
You're the host.
I'm the host. I forgot what's happening here. I've been Rob, the host.
I'm Jack.
And I'm a chopper.
We'll be back. Don't judge us.
Or do.